The story that you're telling yourself, the narrative that you keep playing over and over and over and over again in your head, ask yourself, where did that story come from? Where did that narrative come from? Hey guys, happy Friday. Welcome back to Fearless Fridays. Today is Friday, October 11th. This is episode 42 of Fearless Fridays. Thank you so much for watching. Whether you're watching on IGTV or YouTube or Facebook, I thank you for watching. If it's your first time, welcome to the show. Hop on over to YouTube. There are 41 other episodes for you to binge on. And if you are a return watcher, thank you so much for returning, sharing, liking, commenting, showing me love, all that stuff. I love it. I love it. I love it. So, this week I want to talk to you about the story that you're telling yourself, the narrative that you are playing or that you are allowing to play over and over and over again in your head, in your heart. The narrative that's basically controlling how you live your life and what you do, what you don't do, what you pursue, what you don't pursue. And the question I want to ask you is, where did that narrative come from? Where did that story come from? A while ago, I think it was episode 5. I'm pretty sure it was episode 5. I talked about fear dealers. And you can go to the episode to find out what a fear dealer is. But really quickly, a fear dealer is basically somebody who, as soon as you tell them your passion, your purpose, your plan, your vision, your goal, the thing that you are working towards, the thing that you want most in life, as soon as you share this information with them, they are going to do nothing but throw fear in your face. They're going to tell you how this person did it and it failed. This person tried it and they never recovered. This person did that thing and they injured themselves. This person did that thing and they died. They're going to do nothing but heap fear onto you or deal fear to you. And I've talked about this before. You're not required to carry anyone else's fear. You're not required to drag anyone else's fear behind you. And you're certainly not required to live according to anyone else's fear. But when we talk about the narrative or the story that we tell ourselves constantly, the story that plays in our heads over and over and over again, the story that we tell ourselves about the supposed outcome of whatever we have decided to do, if we're around a lot of fear dealers, then that narrative, that story is going to be nothing but fear. The story that you're telling yourself is going to be fear-based if you are around a lot of fear dealers. And this is why I'm asking you, who created the story? Who created the narrative that you are living according to? Did a fear dealer create that narrative? Have they contributed to the story that you're living? This is what I tell you. This is what I want to tell you. You are allowed to create the narrative. You are allowed to change the narrative. If you have been around fear dealers, if you have been around people who live according to fear, who talk about nothing but fear, who do nothing but caution, but really what they're doing is dealing fear to you, you're allowed to change that story. You're allowed to recreate the story that you live by. You are allowed to say, you know what? I'm not going to fail. I'm going to win. And that's the story that I'm going to tell myself. I'm not going to fail. I'm going to be successful. That's the story that I'm going to tell myself. I am not weak. I am strong. And that's the story that I'm going to tell myself. I am not poor, but I'm rich. And that's the story I'm going to tell myself. And then you do have the responsibility to do that work to make that story come true. But you also have the right, you have the responsibility you have the ability to create the narrative that you are living by. You have the ability to create the story that you tell yourself every single day when you go for a job opportunity, when you decide to quit a job that drains you so that you can pursue the business that you've always wanted to pursue. When you decide to pursue your passion, when you decide to go for the vision that God put into your heart, when you decide to move to a new city to try it out and see what happens and live the life that you've always wanted to live, you have the ability, you have the right, you have the responsibility to create the narrative that you are telling yourself over and over and over again. And you have to be aware and be cognizant of the words that are going in and out of your mind, of the words that you are speaking to yourself, of the words that you are thinking about, of the words that you are meditating on. You have to be aware of the thoughts and the words that you're speaking and you're thinking. And when you recognize, or if you recognize, that those thoughts are creating a narrative that is not the narrative that you want to be telling yourself, you have the power to change it. You have the power to change it. You don't have to allow everybody else to create your story and you just sit back and say, okay, well, I guess this is what it's going to be. I guess everybody in my family has always been broke, so I guess we're always all going to be broke. Nobody in my friend circle has ever started their own business, so I guess that's not what we do. Nobody in my family has ever gotten an advanced degree, so I guess, maybe I shouldn't. Nobody in my family has ever lived abroad. No one in my friend circle has ever, done anything that I desire to do. So I guess, I'm just going to live this humdrum life and I'm not going to go after what I really want to go after, because we don't do that. Somebody got injured, somebody got hurt, somebody went broke, somebody lost their money, somebody lost their friends. If that's the narrative that you're living by, you won't win. You won't win. But you have the right to change that narrative. You have the right to change the story. You have the right, you have the responsibility, and you have the ability to change the story and to decide what that narrative is going to be for you. If you want your narrative to be, I'm a winner, I'm a victor, I'm courageous, I am fearless. If that's what you want your story to be, guess what? You have the right, you have the responsibility, you have the ability to make that your story. So I want you to ask yourself, what are the thoughts that I allow to flow through my mind every day, constantly? What are the words that I'm constantly saying about myself? How am I living? And what are the words that I'm living by? What is the story that I'm living by? Is that the story that I want? Is that the story that I want people to tell about me? Or do I want people to tell a different story about me? Okay, I want people to tell another story about me. Decide the story that you want people to tell about you, and then start telling that story to yourself and start living that story. You can do it. Be courageous, be fearless. You can do it. Change your narrative. Change your narrative. Ask yourself where the narrative came from. If you don't like it, change the narrative and tell yourself a new story. It's all up to you. Don't be afraid to change the narrative. Don't be afraid to change the narrative. Even if you're the only one you know, the only person in your friend circle, the only person in your family, the only person in your community, your city, your state, whatever. Even if you're the only person who ever does it, you have shown someone else that it is possible to change the narrative and to live according to the new narrative. So that's what I have for you this week. Remember, fear is stupid. Get out in the world. Live, love, go, do, be. Control your story. Change your narrative. Live the life that you've always dreamed of living. And happy Friday. I'll talk to you next week. Bye-bye.